Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Clarice Lim. Today I'm going to cover P6 topic with you, adaptations. Okay, so in adaptations there's a lot of things that you need to know. It's more of memory work than understanding, and it is quite simple. So basically you just need to have a lot of knowledge and exposure into the different types of animals and the different types of adaptations that they adopt in order to survive in their environment. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. Living things change or develop certain features to enable them to survive in their natural habitat. So organisms that could not adapt will eventually die out. So die out means having higher death rate than birth rate. So what does that mean? That means if you have a -1 death rate and you have a +1 birth rate, -1 + 1 is 0. So it equalizes, right? There will be no change in the population of the animal. But if it's like -5, 5 died, and then there is only 1 birth, it will lead to a negative number in the population of -4. You see? And eventually when these negative numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger, what happens is the whole population of the animal dies out. And that will lead to extinction. Okay, so that is the meaning of dying out. Therefore, animals need to have special adaptations in order for them to survive so that their death rate is not higher than their birth rate. Okay, so there are 3 types of adaptations, namely the structural, the physiological, and the behavioral. So let's look at the structural first. Body parts, okay, are structurally suited to survive in its natural habitat. For example, there will be many pictures that's coming up. Okay, so this video is like a compilation of knowledge that you need in order to score for this chapter. So polar bears is thick layer of fats to keep it warm. So over here you can see this thick layer of fats, right? This is the super thick layer of fats to keep it very warm. So if you are on the chubby side, you are usually feeling very warm, just like the polar bear. Okay, so polar bears also have stiff hair on their paws to prevent themselves from slipping, because you know they walk on ice, can be very slippery for them, so they have stiff hair on their paws like this, okay, to prevent slipping. Penguins has feathers to keep it warm. Okay, in fact, just to touch on this part, many animals, including your dogs and your cats, actually have hair on their paws as well, because when they are walking, they need this hair to keep themselves from slipping, right? They don't wear shoes like us. We wear rubber shoes to keep ourselves from slipping, isn't it? Right? So in order to run well, we wear rubber soles so that to protect our feet and to able to prevent ourselves from falling off. So these animals, they don't wear shoes. What do they have? They have hair on their paws, right? Penguins has feathers to keep it warm. So this might be something that a lot of children doesn't know. Penguins has feathers, right? These are not hair. These are actually small little feathers. They are very packed, very dense, okay? So they are waterproof. It keeps the penguin warm, okay? And it actually traps heat for them. Mammals have hair and fur to keep warm. You have hair to keep yourself warm. So imagine without your hair, if you are a bald, you will feel very cold on the head. You will lose a lot of heat. So the hair actually helps us to maintain heat. So hair is important. Fennec Fox has the same color as the desert sand to provide camouflage, and also they have huge ears to help dissipate extreme body heat on hot days in the desert. How huge are their ears and how do they camouflage? What color are they? This is the Fennec Fox. Okay, huge ears, very huge. It's like much bigger than their face. Okay, so it actually catches the wind. It allows them to dissipate the heat, okay, through the ears. And they have big eyes as well in order to help them to see in the dark. Behaving in certain ways in order to survive in its natural habitat is what we call the behavioral adaptations. Okay, so plants growing towards the sunlight is one kind of adaptation. Growing towards the sunlight gives them more sun, right? More sun, more photosynthesis, more food, and the plant will grow bigger. Reptiles sunbathing. So why do reptiles particularly need to sunbathe? Because they are cold-blooded. Cold-blooded meaning they do not maintain their own body temperature. Their body temperature is according to the surroundings temperature. So if they want to maintain a hot body, or rather a warm body, they need to sunbathe, right? Otherwise their temperature will drop to the point that it is so cold for them, they might die, right? So they need to sunbathe. Going into hibernation during winter. What is the meaning of hibernation? Hibernation, basically loosely translated, will be a deep long sleep. Okay, so why do polar bears or some animals need to go into a deep long sleep? Because during winter it's so cold, They are unable to function, unable to find food for themselves. They need to preserve energy. Sleeping helps to conserve energy. But of course, they continue to lose energy. Therefore, after hibernation, they lose a lot of weight, right? They lose so much weight that they will need to really start eating. But during hibernation, conserves more energy than when they are awake. Therefore, hibernation is very important for them to survive long period of time where they cannot find food. Migrating according to the season. So of course, birds, because they have wings, they have a much bigger freedom to explore different places. In winter time, they'll fly away from the winter place that they were in and go to the warmer place in order to continue surviving, finding food. And when that warmer place becomes cold, they will fly back to their original place where it is warm again to find food. So this ensures survival. So this is the behavioral adaptation that birds and different animals have. So for example, Fennec Fox is nocturnal due to the hot day. So because in the desert it's very hot, so they will sleep in the day and hunt at night, where therefore they need very big eyes. The owls have very big eyes as well. Later I'll show you a picture. Physiological adaptations include special organs or systems that allow biochemical reactions. For example, the snake. They inject venom into the prey to kill them much faster, right? So how do they do that? So they have this venom that is injected into the animal through their fangs. If not, they will secrete slime as well. Okay, so this is a physiological adaptation for the snail. But why is it on this woman's face, you might think? Okay, so the reason why snails secrete slime is so that it helps them to move forward a little bit better, a little bit easier. So it's like a lubricant for them to move, right? So at the same time, this slime actually came from them for the purpose of keeping them wet, right? To keeping them hydrated, to keep them damp. Okay, so this secretion is actually supposedly very, very hydrating for the skin, which is why some spas, some facial therapy actually uses snail slime. I'm not sure how effective it is. I've never tried. So this is just perhaps a marketing gimmick. I'm not sure. But the reason why snails secrete slime is to keep themselves wet. Female silkworm moth secretes a substance that emits a scent to attract males. Okay, so attracting males is to result in reproduction. So this is very important. It's a behavioral adaptation as well for animals to continue to have a lot of their own species. Reproduction leads to that. Factors requiring adaptations is actually talking about why do animals need to adapt? Because of what? Number one, because of temperature. It can be so hot in certain places that they definitely need to have different kind of adaptations, be it physiological, be it physical, be it behavioral, in order to help them to survive. So for example, the Arctic fox has smaller ears to help it retain heat. So just now the Fennec fox, because they stay in the desert, they need huge ears to dissipate heat. But the Arctic fox will therefore have smaller ears to retain heat, right? So the Fennec fox over here, huge ears to give off the heat. Penguins have water-resistant feathers, which I've showed you just now, to prevent getting too cold when wet. So the light. Owls have big eyes to become very sensitive to light. They hunt in the dark. So how big is their eyes? This big. Okay, so big eyes allow more light to enter so that they can actually see better in the night. Okay, because they're nocturnal as well. They hunt at night. Trees can have very strong, tall trunks to hold leaves all the way up high above ground to get more sunlight. Creepers like sweet potato plant and carpet grass spread themselves across the field to get maximum sunlight. So these are creepers. So if you grow them in a pot, they will just most likely come out because they like to spread out. The more spread out they are, the more sunlight they get, the better they grow. So this is an example of a carpet grass. Okay, they spread very evenly. A lot of people like to use this in their backyard, in their front yard, because it looks very nice. It's even. Okay, very easy to maintain. So climbers like morning glory. So climbers means what? They actually climb. Money plant, they climb up tall structures to get maximum sunlight. It's the same reason, okay? The same reason why they want to climb, why they want to creep across, same reason to get the maximum sunlight, so that there is more photosynthesis, so that there is more food produced. In order to move efficiently in water, aquatic animals need to have the following ability. To stay buoyant, buoyant means to be able to float. They need a thick layer of fat under their skin, just like the penguins, just like the polar bears. They need a thick layer of their skin in order to be able to float, right? To survive well in water. So to overcome water resistance as well, they need a streamlined body. Okay, streamlined body usually means it is like a dolphin. Imagine a dolphin. It is sharp in front, and then you can move out a little bit and then go behind. It is sharp at behind again. Okay, so to overcome water resistance, a streamlined body reduces friction between the body and the water. So that's what a streamlined body is for. It helps them to move swiftly. That's why you see fish, dolphins, sharks, they all have the same structure. It's like this, okay? Sharp in front and then curve outwards, backwards to the sharp behind. So they push forward in the water using flippers, fins, web feet, and all like hind legs, that kind that actually helps them to push forward, just like how we swim, we use our hand to go this way, right? Okay, so in order to survive underwater, aquatic animals need the following to breathe. So they have nostrils. Some of them have nostrils located at the top of the head. So the whales and the dolphins, they have this thing called the blowhole, okay, for them to breathe. They have also nostrils that will close when underwater. So this I'm talking about animals, mammals, okay, mammals. So for example, this one is a seal. You see, look at their nostrils, you can actually close it. On normal days, they can actually open it. When they are above ground, they open it up. The nostrils are open. When they are underwater, they will close their nostril. Huh? You will wish that you have this ability if you're swimming, learning how to swim, right? Okay. Other animals have air tubes like water scorpion, water stick insect, mosquito larva, and pupa. One example is over here. This is the air tube, okay, sticking out of the water for them to breathe. They can also have air bubbles carried on their hinds, okay, between the wings also can. This is a water beater. Over here, this is the air bubbles. There can also be gill chambers over here. So the gills are over here, so they have these chambers, not just gills like fish, they have just gills. But these mud skippers, they can have this big chamber here so that they can store water inside. They store water inside so that they can actually use the dissolved oxygen in the water when above water. So gills can help them, gills over here for the fish, it helps to absorb the dissolved oxygen from the water. So it exists for fish, tadpoles, and prawns, examples. Special skin also helps them to breathe in water. For example, the toad, the frog, this is a salamander. Okay, flatworms, they breathe through skin. Aquatic plants also have special features to help them survive in a natural habitat. So for example, they can have spongy, swollen leaf stalks with air spaces that trap air to help the plant float. For example, water hyacinth. This is the water hyacinth. How do they float? Why is it that they float? Why is it that they don't sink? It's because they are stalked. So imagine you cut the water hyacinth stalk in half. You will be able to see all these porous holes in between, and all these are air bubbles inside. Okay, air spaces. That's why they float. Hairy leaves and waxy leaves to prevent water from collecting on it. So if there is no water that can collect on it because they are pond vegetations, aquatic vegetations. So if they have all these waxy leaves and hairy leaves, they minimize the water that's trapped on the leaf. Therefore, they can continue to photosynthesize. Small size also helps them to float. For example, duckweed, they are really, really small little plants. So they can grow onto they can propagate really, really fast and cover the entire pond, killing all the submerged plants inside because they cover the sunshine that is needed for all the plants inside. So duckweeds are called weeds because they're not exactly very good for the entire habitat. Tiny air spaces in their leaves and stems to help them standing tall in water to get maximum sunlight. So how do they actually, why do they actually stand? Hydrilla, Elodea. So this is Elodea. Okay, look very, very familiar with Hydrilla. Okay, so why is it that they can stand in water like that? Because they have air spaces in the leaves and stems to help them grow, stand. Okay, so their roots are into the bed of the pond or the water feature over there. Okay, so their roots are deep inside the soil, but they actually stand up because of the air spaces in their leaves and stems. To reduce water loss in dry conditions, for example, desert, some plants have special features as well. They have large, thick, juicy stems to store huge amount of water. For example, cactus. Okay, so this is how cactus look like, but if you cut the cactus into half, you will see that, oh, there is actually a lot of liquid inside, and even inside here, this is full of liquid as well. So these are all liquid holes. And you notice that they have needle-like leaves. Okay, these are actually their leaves, and they are like needles, they are sharp. Why is that so? To prevent water loss through transpiration, which is why you see those spiky things poking out. They are actually leaves of the cactus. Okay, so why are they so narrow? Is to prevent their water loss during hot days. So they still need to respirate, they still need to transpirate, but they want to prevent the loss of water too much. Moving on to the next point, animals need to adapt as well in order to obtain food. Okay, because hunting can be quite difficult if done alone. Therefore, a behavioral adaptation that some animals adopt is to hunt in groups. For example, the wolves and the lions, they hunt in groups. Some of them also have stripes on their body to camouflage themselves so that they can hunt effectively, so that they can get the food that they need. For example, tigers. They must also have good eyesight, like the birds, for example, the owls, so that they can actually, big eyes, can sense a lot of light in their eyes so that they can see the rat from far, far away. Or even sharp eyes, like the eagle. When they are flying high up in the sky, they can see, oh, there's a little rat running far off, and they can just zoom down and actually capture the rat. So good eyesight. They can actually have sharp-pointed teeth as well. Most carnivores have sharp-pointed teeth, but humans don't have. Humans have blunt, large teeth, okay, like herbivores. But we also have some sharp teeth inside, okay, not very sharp though, not completely carnivorous. Okay, so this is an example of the blunt teeth that the cattle has. There is also different kind of beaks for birds because they eat different things, okay, different kind of diet. So for example, the heron's beak is long and pointy. It is suitable for them to eat worms, shrimps, and crabs, okay, for them to poke, 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 and then they eat. Okay, there are some that is flat and round as well, in order for them to eat small organisms in water. So it is flat and round, like the duck's bill over here. They eat small organisms in water. This round shape helps them to capture more at one time. Okay, there is also the thick and strong parrot's beaks. It is so that they can actually use the hook side, and the strength of it helps to crack nuts. So the hook side and the strength of it helps them to crack nuts to eat. Strong and sharp woodpecker's beak to peck into wood to eat insects in it. Okay, for example, this one, very, very sharp, very, very strong. If you are pecked, you will most likely be very badly injured. Okay, hooked and sharp as well to tear meat, like the eagle's beak. There is also other physiological adaptations that they will use in order to hunt. For example, like special digestive juices to break down insects and absorb the nutrients. For example, Venus flytrap, like this one. Okay, so once it is trapped, once they sense motion, the Venus flytrap will actually close up, and then this prevents the insect from flying out, and the insect will slowly die because no food, right, for them. So they will eventually die. They will lose energy from flying out, from trying to fly out, and then there will be special digestive juices inside the plant to digest the fly eventually as food for the plant. There is also this one. These are called the pitcher plant. Okay, so this pitcher plant works exactly the same way, but the thing is that they are very slimy at the side, so there's no way that the bug can actually climb out after they drop inside. Okay, and the same thing, they'll be digested with the digestive juices inside. Flying is another way, another kind of a special adaptation. In order to fly for birds, they will need lightweight and hollow bones, just like the corrugated board you see over here. This is inside of the bird's bone. Very, very hollow, very, very light, which is why humans can never fly. Humans' bones are very dense. Birds also have strong wing muscles so that they can flap continuously for a long time to keep them in flight. The feathers are light as well, and it traps heat to keep the bird warm. So the bats, okay, another kind of flying creature, bats do not have feathers. They have webbed arms and hands over here. This is what keeps them in flight. In order to escape from predators, to ensure survival, prey use different methods to escape from their predators. Behavioral adaptation is to hide into burrows, okay, like rats and rabbits, or even shells like crabs and snails. So this is a type of burrow. So you can see they can enter here and then they can hide deep inside here. Escape from their predators. Their predators are too big, can't enter. So also they will live in groups. For example, like deer, buffalo, zebras, or meerkats, they live in groups to protect each other. Defending themselves, structurally, they might appear larger than usual when threatened. For example, pufferfish. This is pufferfish before. This is pufferfish when threatened. Okay, they look so spiky, nobody will dare to go near them or even think of eating them. Like the frilled lizard, they appear bigger. Right? It's like, ah! And then they will scare the predators away. It's like they were thin before that, but once they spread out, they look very, very scary. Porcupines, they use quills as well to protect themselves, so they will raise these sharp spikes when threatened, and so the lion will not be able to eat them. There is also poisonous stings, for example, scorpions. So the scorpions will actually use the sting to attack anyone that goes near them or threaten them. Some animals use bright colors. Don't go and touch those animals that has bright colors, even though they look beautiful, they are nice, they are very, very poisonous, because the bright colors is actually a warning. I am bright means I'm poisonous, don't come near me. Okay, and the taste is very bad. The brighter their color, the worse their taste is. Okay, so of course there are some animals that try to run away as fast as they can. So the squid is very fast, the antelope is very fast too. But their predators will be equally faster. For example, who is the antelope? Who is able to chase the antelope? Most likely cheetah, the fastest animal on land. So they also camouflage like sea dragon, spotted deer, grasshopper. Grasshopper looks green, spotted deer looks part of the environment because they are spotted. So the sea dragon, you'll be amazed. Do you spot the sea dragon here? So this is actually the sea dragon over here. Okay, so it completely is camouflaged. There's no way you can see it with if you're not observant enough. There is also body shape, structure. For example, the leaf insect, it looks exactly like the leaf. Stick insect looks exactly like the stick. They can also imitate others. For example, the viceroy butterflies appears to look exactly like the monarch butterflies, because the monarch butterflies tastes bad because it's colorful. So animals will not want to attack the monarch butterflies. Therefore, the viceroy know about that, and the viceroy try to look exactly like the monarch butterflies. Okay, so these are the monarch butterflies, these are the viceroy butterflies. There is very, very slight differences between them. Okay, reproduction. They need to adapt in order to have a successful reproduction. So for example, spreading out their feathers to attract the opposite sex like peacocks, calling out for frogs, and they can also be puffing out their chest. For example, the frigate birds. Normally they don't look like that, but they do that during mating season. The bigger and the brighter this chest is, the better chance they have in attracting the opposite gender. Plants, how do they adapt in order to ensure reproduction and successful offsprings? They will have different seeds dispersal methods. You've learned this in your lower primary. So these are some of the methods that seeds travel. By wind, by animals, by water, by bursting, by humans. You should be quite aware of this already. Okay, now let's look at some of the questions. The questions are really very simple. With the correct knowledge, you can answer them pretty quickly. So study the pictures of the names of the damselfly and the dragonfly below. So damselfly is here, dragonfly is here. So you notice that the question says, which nymph can move through water with less resistance? So you notice that this one has got more streamlined body. This one has got a bigger butt, so not so streamlined. So which nymph can move through water better? It will be the damselfly. So why is that so? The keyword will be that it is more streamlined. Okay. State two adaptations of fruits. They are dispersed by water. So there is actually more than two. You can actually have more. So for example, you can talk about their waterproof fibrous husk, or you can also talk about their air spaces trapped in the fruit. You can also talk about the waterproof husk that prevents water from entering, because if water cannot enter, they will not get heavy and they will not sink. So therefore, there is actually three different kind of answers here. Fibrous husk, waterproof fibrous husk. You can also say prevent water from entering. You can also say the air spaces. Okay, which is very similar to the fibrous husk, trapping air inside. How is the mudskipper adapted to breathe when it is out of water? I mentioned just now, actually, I shared with you a picture. It is because of the gill chambers. The gill chambers will store the water. So really, this is all about knowledge. If you know what these animals are, you will be able to answer this pretty simply. So the gill chamber stores water. The mudskipper can use the dissolved oxygen inside when the mudskipper is out of water. That's all. So the keyword is gill chamber. Another aquatic organism that has the same adaptation, it will be the crab. So again, this is pure knowledge. You need to know all this. The diagram below shows two birds, the bird A and bird B. Okay, the bird B has got bigger beak. The bird A has got small little beaks. So match the kind of food. So the reason why they need such a big beaks is because they eat fishes, isn't it? So therefore, this is B, and those that eat worms will be bird A. Smaller beaks. Explain how the beak of B over here is adapted to the bird's diet. So it says that the bird actually eats fish, right? So what is the size of this big for? Basically, it is used to scoop up the fish from the water to eat, right? So the key word over here is really, it is used to scoop up water for the bird, right? Use 2 reasons why polar bears are not adapted to live in the desert. So this one you need to know, why are polar bears designed the way they are? They have thick fur, they have thick layer of fats, and they actually have dark skin, in case you are not aware. They have very dark skin under their white fur. I'll show you a picture later. But basically, if they are adapted to live in winter, they will not be adapted to live in desert because it will be too hot for them. Winter is very cold. The Arctic area is very cold. So it has thick fur that traps heat. So it will be too hot for the desert, and also their dark skin will absorb too much heat, making them too warm to survive in the desert. So, you see, under the white fur of the polar bear, they are actually having dark skin because the dark skin helps them to maintain the heat in their body to keep them extra warm, apart from the white thick fur. Okay, I hope you understand this chapter well and gain all the knowledge that you need. I hope to see you soon. Please subscribe and get notified of our YouTube videos. Bye-bye.